On Toyota's invitation, a group of automotive writers and sport utility vehicle shoppers took the new 4Runner for a test drive, but not the typical trip around the block. For 4 days, we took the 4Runner anywhere we wanted to go. There were only 3 rules. Ask anything you want, say anything you want, and don't be afraid to get it dirty.
All kinds of people buy cars for the wrong reason. They trade it in very shortly. They get another one they don't like, another one they don't like. 3 or 4 cars down the road, they still don't have anything they like.
Right now I've got a Jeep, and it's great off-road. We go hiking, we use it a lot, we go canoeing. But I need something I can drive to work in.
So I own the 94 4Runner, and for me it was a matter of buying a vehicle that was versatile.
Looking for something that's going to ride that line between being a very safe vehicle and something that I might have a little fun with as well.
I need something that I can take out there and impress people with when I take them to lunch, yet something that's also going to get me down the road when the weather's bad.
A lot of what we're going to be doing this week is kind of evaluating how you evaluate. We're going to be talking about how you talk about cars and how you make some of these decisions and how you compare some of these characteristics and balance a lot of the qualities.
You know, buying a car is always a difficult decision. There's so much out there, so many different choices, and to pick the one that fits your needs best is really tough for a lot of people to do.
You need to be excited about a new car. It should be something we get passionate about, but it doesn't hurt to do a little homework too and gather some information, do a little research. And of course, if you're really lucky, all that information you pick up ends up reinforcing the choice you'd made emotionally already. And we have some sport utility vehicles to look at. There's the 4Runner, a 4-cylinder model. There's the SR5. And there's also new this year, the Limited model. This is one that's loaded with virtually everything you would ever want to put on an SUV.
I like to go to the theater, I like to go to the opera, and you go into Boston, you know, you want something that looks nice.
And you might have people tell you, well, you should go for this kind of a styling, or this is the trend, or whatever. And I say baloney to all of that. The only issue is, do you like it?
I think there's a clear Toyota face to it. It looks a little fresher, a little more modern, a little more contemporary. The character lines that run down the fender sides give it, you know, a fresher look. But Don's absolutely right. You have to love it yourself. You have to
I
like
love
what
these
you're looking at.
new fender extensions.
You like the flares?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Does that only come with the Limited, or?
Yeah, they're standard on the Limited.
It kind of looks like the Land Cruiser.
Yeah, there's some Land Cruiser flavor in those fender flares.
The alloys are definitely a plus.
Yeah.
The alloy wheels carry the bigger tires. They're 16 inches in diameter, but they're also lighter. You know, the light alloy just doesn't carry as much mass, and that can improve ride quality. They're a little more susceptible to dings and rocks and stream crossings and that kind of thing. But they don't carry as much unsprung weight, and of course, they look fabulous.
There's some things you can do to make some sense out of the interior room and interior comfort in the vehicle. I'd like to point out a few of those things. And the first thing is, can you get in it? Is the door big enough? And is the step-in height low enough from the ground up to this spot here where it's easy to get in, and once you get through there, you can get through the opening, and you can find some comfort in the seat.
There are a couple of ways to do access to the cargo area on a sport utility vehicle. Some of them have doors that will open, which can work fine, but it often gives you a pillar right down the middle of the rear view mirror. You can do a tailgate with a hatch combination, but that gives you some extra metal to reach over sometimes. This is a unique arrangement, certainly unique to the category. It's a lift gate with a retractable power window.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
Okay. So get in there and get comfortable in the seat, and then work the adjustment down here, so get it where you feel good with it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
That's handy.
Catherine, take a shot at this window here. Put the key in, rotate it to the left, and just hold it, and the window powers down automatically. This is a quick way to get access if you want to just reach in and grab a light object, something like that.
This is really comfortable. I could spend a lot of time riding in this.
And you feel okay on headroom and so forth?
Yeah.
When you want to, you open the tailgate all the way up. You see you can reach in. You don't have a tailgate to reach over. Also, that load floor has been lowered by up to 4 inches this year.
This is a big improvement. Even on my current 4Runner, it has the tailgate, and this is a big improvement.
Not quite as much real estate to reach over when you're putting the load in.
Access.
We'll try another person in the back. We'll put Keith here in the back seat. How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
Okay. 2 6-footers in front of and behind each other.
There's good headroom, and good leg room.
The first thing, you get in the front, adjust the front seat and see where that fits, and then get into the back and see if the back seat fits with the seat in front adjusted where you would normally have it. That's just a way you can kind of make some sense out of trying to see if that vehicle will fit you or not. Because after all, the vehicle has to fit you. You're not going to change yourself for it.
The space is opened up a little bit more this year. The seats do fold down individually. There's a lot of space to work with in there. Excuse me a sec. Something else, there's a couple of different places to mount a spare tire on an SUV. Some vehicles put it on the back door, which at least has it out of the way, but it's often an obstacle that you have to look through in the rearview mirror, and also you have to heft that tire each time you open and close the door. You can put it inside, of course, which is convenient, except that it takes up more cargo space, and that's exactly what you don't want to have to take up in an SUV. Right. So the 4Runner has the spare tire underneath in the back where it's accessible, but also out of the way.
I think we've talked about the inside of this thing pretty well. I think it's time to get behind the wheel, take some out and start driving them, see where we're going to go with them.
We're just about ready to jump behind the wheels and do some driving here, and my suggestion when we start a test drive is to kind of pick out one characteristic at a time. There's a lot going on inside a car, but I think you need to focus on kind of one thing at a time. I'm going to suggest engine performance, horsepower, response as the first things we focus on. We've got a couple of upgraded engines here.
There's a 4-cylinder engine which makes essentially about as much power as last year's V6. And there's a new V6 which is 3.4 liters and makes much more power and torque than last year's V6. It's really a sweetheart of an engine.
You're not sacrificing anything in the economy side?
And I think it's significant to note that on both of the new engines here, even though the performance is up, efficiency is up as well. They have not had to make that big a trade-off.
Should I be looking for the horsepower or the torque, or what sort of thing should I be looking at?
The horsepower number tends to have an implication of higher speed performance. Torque number refers to the twist that the engine's crankshaft puts out and delivers to the rear wheel.
That surge from right off idle
Delivers the force to get you accelerated and to pull heavier loads. And we can go into a discussion about multiple valves and 4 valves per cylinders and double overhead cams, and it means a more technologically advanced, more improved, more efficient kind of power plant. But what it really gets down to is how does the doggone thing run when you're driving down the road and you step on the gas. And there is a safety issue there also, because you've got to barrel up freeway on-ramps and get in with the freeway flow. You've got to keep up with traffic, and you might have to do that while you're pretty well loaded down. There's a torque within the mid-range of the engine's performance where you might be going, say, 40 or 50 miles an hour down the road and you want to pass somebody. But that brings up another part of engine performance, which is drivability or engine smoothness. And so that's another thing to look for in engine performance. There's a real item of getting a boat up out of a boat ramp. The engine not only has to have sufficient power to do that, it has to have sufficient power down low in the rev range to be able to get all that stuff accelerated up a hill from a dead stop on a slippery surface with the extra weight behind it. That's a kind of a big combination of things you're putting in there. But I think with the extra power of this 4Runner, it'll deal with that weight much more easily.
I'm really interested in the suspension issue because I'm in a little Suzuki right now and all my friends call it a paint mixer.
I don't want to have to herd that car down the road.
Sure.
You know, so how well that responds while I'm driving is really important.
We've got some lovely twisty roads.
It's left and right and up and down. It's like a roller coaster, but you don't have to buy a ticket for it.
And that gets us into the whole concept of ride and handling.
You look at, for example, steering.
That's what you're hanging on to all the time.
Which I think is the way most people really judge handling.
And if you like the messages you're getting through that, you will tend to like the vehicle overall. Conversely, if you don't like the way it's feeling, it can be a great vehicle otherwise, and you're not going to be very happy with it.
Handling and ride have always been seen as two kind of antagonistic goals. They're trying to make it ride softer or handle more crisply. Well, they don't have to be antagonistic.
But what you've got here is you have to build a chassis for ruggedness and durability, four-wheel drive capability. You're set higher up in the air for ground clearance, which you will need off-road. And all of these things affect the handling dynamics.
Something that'll go off-road this good, you would think that it would drive like a truck. But this is actually fun, getting to the place you're going down the road.
Right. On the 4Runner, it has coil spring rear suspension. A lot of sport utility vehicles have leaf spring rear suspension. On the front suspension, it has control arms with coil springs. Other sport utility vehicles have McPherson struts or beam axles in the front.
You turn the wheel just a little bit and the car starts to turn.
It starts to go
It's
right away.
very responsive.
Steering's been upgraded to a rack and pinion system from the recirculating ball that it used to use, and which is still most common in trucks and sport utility vehicles.
Now, if I was to put you in a vehicle and say, tell me if it has leaf springs or not, you probably wouldn't be able to do that. Tell me if it has coil springs or not. You wouldn't be able to do that. Recirculating ball or not, you wouldn't be able to do that. But if you put all those things together, they add up to something that you can feel.
It does contribute to the refinement, I think.
You know, a lot of people look upon off-roading as they go to the country club for dinner, the parking lot's full, they got to park on the grass. But actually there's quite a bit more to it than that.
We're going to look for mud, we're going to look for dirt, rocks, hills.
I'll be real curious to see what happens, how much I'm getting tossed around inside the vehicle.
I've certainly never driven in terrain like we have here today.
Well, we'll call you our rookie of the group here, so you can be
Thanks.
Rookie of the Week.
Thanks, Don.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to be looking at, obviously, power, gearing, tire traction.
I mean, we're really going to learn something here.
This is the opportunity I've been waiting for.
We see a muddy track we want to try, we'll give it a whirl. See a rock slick you want to try climbing, we'll try climbing it. There should be no holds barred here. We want to bring them all back alive, but it should be a lot of fun.
And there's something really important that I noticed on the 4Runners if you look at the skid plates. If you go look at a lot of four-wheel drives out there, they look good, but you get underneath them and they don't have any kind of protection.
The skid plate's that part that protects some more critical part of the vehicle, and so if you hit a rock or something that eats up all your ground clearance, you might dent up the skid plate, but you're not going to be beating up something critical on the vehicle. So that's really
A hole
important.
in your oil pan or something.
Yeah, a hole in the oil pan. That's a lot of fun when you're way out there in the boondocks. Yeah, I've done that too. The two main ingredients on going off-road as I see it, you have adequate ground clearance to get over the irregularities, and do you have enough traction to get through the slippery surfaces? You put those two things together and you have a good off-road vehicle.
One of the aspects of the 4Runner that Toyota has tried to work on is to improve the civility and the comfort and the refinement of it, but without losing the rugged off-road capability, which is really the heritage that the 4Runner has. And this is where this vehicle really was born. Its birthright, if you will, is bounding around in the hills like this.
I go down a lot of roads that you don't know if you're going to be able to get back up. You know, I mean, you're thinking, geez, I can get down here, but can I make it back up?
Been there, done that, right?
Yeah, so you need the ground clearance. You don't want to damage something that's just nice. But you still want to be able to get there and get back.
Getting stuck is not fun. That's the part we're here to avoid.
Got that hitch okay going there?
Yeah, you know, this really goes on easy here.
Yeah. I'll tell you, today we're going to have three things to look at. We got a heavy trailer. We got this kind of corn snow stuff, I guess they call it, real slippery. And we've got a high altitude problem. So, you know, we got a lot of load to pull on a slippery surface, and there's going to be some power degradation also.
You know, I was kind of wondering about that. Something that we do a lot of is going to higher altitudes and stuff. Am I going to have a problem with power and performance from the engine at higher altitudes with this?
Perfectly valid question. You know, if you get any engine up to higher altitude, it's going to lose some power. It's going to have thinner air to deal with, less oxygen. It's going to make less power. The question is, does it have enough left over to get you where you want to go? That's what we're here for. We've got a trailer on it, we've got high altitude, and we have the slippery surface. At the end of that, we'll have an answer for your question, I hope.
You know, as good as these things are off-road, most of the time I'm using it to go to work or go on a trip with the family.
I tell you, if there's one particular little thing that really impressed me product-wise, was the two-wheel drive 4-cylinder version.
Clearly the 6-cylinder has a lot of power to it and a lot of oomph to it, but I think for my needs I started to think, well, you know, I think I can deal with the 4-cylinder. I don't do a lot of towing and that kind of thing, and the 4-cylinder seems to be able to do the kind of work that I need to have it done.
I would have to say that I've been impressed by the fact that it's clearly a more civilized package, more room inside.
The increased headroom.
Easier to get in and out of.
Just, you know, I'm a lot shorter than you guys, and I'm not doing that big hop down off like, you know, big stool or something. You know, it's just real nice to get in and out.
Lots of refinement in lots of small ways that make it a friendlier package to live with day in and day out.
They've made some major changes in the suspension.
For a car this size and this high with this kind of ground clearance, it's just hard to believe it could corner like it corners.
I had the confidence in terms of the power that the car was able to provide in terms of passing.
They've added the standard equipment passenger and driver side airbags, and that's an important feature for me. And the other thing is, I know we were driving vehicles with the anti-lock brake mechanism, and that gave me added confidence when we were out driving in the snow and the mud.
But at the same time, it looks like they have not sacrificed any of that durability, the toughness, the off-road capability.
You know, we got up in the mud and it started raining and the conditions got a lot worse than I think even we anticipated.
Right.
But it felt like the wheels were independently taking each boulder, each rut in the road.
You know, the sport and the utility side of it is all very much intact, but it's just a more modern, more refined, nicer, friendlier vehicle. And that's of course what the market is demanding too. It's the right way to go.
I kept saying, well, you know, in a car like this, in a car like that, in a car like this, and we realized that we were talking about it in terms of being a car. And
one thing I think we definitely have to talk about, because we talked about it so much during the week, was the fact that our camera vehicle that followed us around, which was not a 4runner and wasn't a four-wheel drive vehicle, got stuck a number of times following us around. And we actually had to use the 4runner with the four-wheel drive to tow it out of some of the places that we got into.
Toyota is my hero.
There's no denying the golden reputation of Toyota when it comes to reliability and quality and durability. There's no denying that. You know, all those J.D. Power Awards don't happen by accident.
Right.
And so what Toyota's done with this one is basically take a tried and true proven principle and modernized it, enhanced it.
I thought it was a wonderful 4 days test driving and getting a feel for the vehicle.
It was a lot of fun.
I learned an awful lot about driving.
It's really given me an opportunity to drive these things in conditions that I don't usually see.
It's not always possible for everybody to get to snow country like this or the beach we were on the other day, but the process works for anybody. You know, pay attention, feel what's going on, ask the right questions,
Right.
gather the information,
Right.
educate yourself.
Right.
It's a research operation.
All of that
And
stuff. The process is the same. I don't care if you live in Phoenix or if you live in New York. The process is the same. You need to drive the car where you're going to be driving it, take a look at it, and do more than just wheel it around the block, more than ask just 2 questions, more than just throw yourself at the mercy of some unknown deal. You know, get into the process, and it's not that difficult. And in fact, it can even be a little bit of fun.